I'm Neil Christensen, author of Dark White and Malcolm Karma Cold Turkey, and you're listening to the Malcolm Karma Cold Turkey audiobook podcast. On this show, every episode, I'll read you one chapter of Malcolm Karma Cold Turkey, and then we'll be joined by a guest, author, editor, reader, pundit, to discuss the chapter, its merits, and its failures. These will be frank conversations focusing on writing craft. So sit back, relax, and enjoy Malcolm Karma Cold Turkey. Chapter 3. I park my car in a spacious parking lot on the near north side, not far from the CHA houses where all this began 15 years ago. The neighborhood is very different now. It's upscale and expensive. I wonder for a moment what happened to that girl and her father. They certainly couldn't afford to live around here anymore. Behind me is a wide, low, brown building with a red clay roof and a man-made brook that tumbles through dense coniferous vegetation. There's a small bridge that arcs over the water between the parking lot and the flat riverstone path that leads to the entrance. The double doors at the front of the building are wide and fashioned out of two solid pieces of weathered lumber. They're thick and heavy, hung with black iron hardware. Inside, the lights are low and everything has a vaguely reddish glow. The space is divided into two large dining rooms, separated by a wide open-air kitchen. The tables are low to the ground and absent chairs, surrounded by colorful, overstuffed pillows. I approach the host stand and tell the smiling young Japanese girl to let Mika know that Malcolm is here to see her. The girl smiles, bows politely, and disappears into one of the dining rooms. When she returns, she smiles again and tells me that Mika will see me. On the other side of the dining room is a small doorway covered in a thick curtain of tiny multicolored beads. Outside the door stands an imposing man in a dark suit. Exactly the same suit I'm wearing. His name is Don. He's Mika's bodyguard. I don't know him well, and I'm thankful for that. He may not be the smartest guy, but he knows two things really well. One is that Mika is God, and the other is that everyone else is expendable. He nods at me as I pass through the curtain. The room is uncomfortable, small, and a deep rusty red that plays tricks on the eyes. I've heard several guys have passed out in here from the vertigo it creates. Mika, as always, is sitting barefoot and cross-legged on the floor behind a wide mahogany table. She smiles up at me as I remove my shoes and take a seat on a large forest green pillow across from her. "Good morning, Mal," she says sweetly. "I had kind of thought I would see you last night. Everything go okay?" I'm nervous. The gravity of what I'm about to do is hitting me, and I can feel it pulling at my will to follow through. I clench my jaw and nod the affirmative to her. "Yeah, it was just late," I say. "I wanted to try and catch Elle before she fell asleep." "I see," she says. There's an extended moment of silence, made longer by unbroken eye contact. "Well," she says, finally looking away, "here's your fee." She lifts a wide business envelope off the table and holds it out to me. I stare at it for a moment before leaning forward and taking it out of her hand. "Thanks." She nods. "So, I don't actually have anything for you today. I suppose that's a good thing, right?" She gives a light laugh. "But, I'll give you a call later this week when something comes up." I sit paralyzed, unable to get up, but equally unable to say the words I've been practicing for days. There's sweat starting to work its way out of the pores on my forehead, and the red walls are starting to inch in on me. The moment grows and quickly becomes uncomfortable as my frozen gaze drifts out of focus. Mika tilts her head and squints at me questioningly. "Everything went okay last night?" she asks again. I nod silently, feeling my face drain of blood. "Was there something you wanted to talk about?" she asks. I feel a lump form in my throat and my hands go cold and clammy. My tongue dries up and my stomach starts doing cartwheels. Mal, what's on your mind? I'm breathing too heavily and I start to get lightheaded. Mal, if you need... I want out, I blurt. Mika stops and stares at me blankly. I know what you did for me. I know I owed you, I just, that was 15 years ago, and I'm not that kid anymore, and, I'm spinning my wheels, trying to get traction on the subject. I'm trying to be cool, but it's totally getting away from me. I love Elle. I want to have kids. I feel like I'm going to throw up. I put my hands out on the table for balance. Malcolm, Mika says firmly. The room is spinning. I lean forward and put my head on the table. Mika stands up and walks around to me. She kneels down and puts an arm around my shoulders. Slow down. Take it easy. Slow down. Deep breath. It's okay, Mal. Don't go passing out on me now. My breath slows and the calm is coming back. Her delicate fingers are on my back, rubbing soft circles, then up and down, caressing my neck with her fingernails. I take a long, deep breath and begin to regain my composure. Suddenly, I'm very embarrassed. Mika, Shh. I know it's hard, she says. It's scary quitting your job for the first time. I know. I've been there too. Her face is soft and friendly. She has deep emerald eyes that imbue a sense of trust. She pats me on the shoulder and smiles genuinely, then stands up and walks back around the table. Behind her desk, she crouches and lifts up an expertly hidden section of floor. In the hole, her hands are busy, and I hear the sound of 2 hollow clicks. A stack of manila envelopes are visible for a moment before she pulls one out, and the rest disappear back into the floor. When she's finished, I can't even tell where the spot had been. She reaches out and offers me the packet. What's that? I ask. Your retirement package. I taste acid in my mouth. My what? Like a pension, she says. I set a little aside after every job, so when you're done, you have something to get you going on your own. I look at her dumbstruck. What did you think was going to happen, Mal? I don't say anything. She smiles again. Malcolm, you've done well. You've grown up. You're right, you're not the same person you were. The kid that came to me back then, he wouldn't even realize what we do is wrong. You've become a good man and improved your character significantly. Hell, you worked for me and married a prosecutor. That takes a special kind of balls, I'd say. You deserve to enjoy the rest of your life. Go, move out of town, make a baby, and enjoy being unemployed for a while. I promise we'll get by without you. A huge sigh escapes my lungs, and 1,000 pounds of worry runs off my shoulders like dry sand. I smile and grip the envelope tightly. Thank you, I say. Mika doesn't say anything. She just smiles and folds her arms across her chest. I stand up and give a deferential bow. Thank you, again. I slip on my shoes and walk out the doorway. I'm only 10 feet away when I hear Mika call Don into her office. As I walk out the front door, I look back and see Don stepping in through the beaded curtain. I drive home with a smile. The first envelope Mika gave me has $900 in it. That's what I get, or I guess got, per job. Mika called it my fee. It's not really the right word. I didn't set the rate. I wasn't exactly an independent contractor. That night in the city, Mika's guy saved my life. That was it. I was owned. From then on, Mika told me what to do, where to go, how to live, and how much I got paid. There was no negotiation. She bought my life by saving it, and I always figured I'd have to give it up to get it back. I never heard of anyone that quit, only those that disappeared. I assumed that you had to die to get out. So I'm more than a little surprised to find the second envelope contains a little less than $75,000. A retirement payout for a job I thought I'd have to stop breathing to leave. I'm over the moon. I stop at the florist on the way home and grab a dozen roses and baby's breath in a glass vase for Elle. A quick call to our favorite little French bistro, and we're set with a reservation for 9 o'clock. At home, I clean the apartment to perfection, even dusting the vertical blinds and scrubbing the outside of the fridge with Windex. I strip the sheets I just put on yesterday and replace them with our special sheets, then set candles around the room. I put on nice clothes, ones with color in them, and make us cocktails in the fancy glassware we got at our wedding. She walks in the door at 8 p.m. with a sour look on her face. I'm on the sofa watching the news on a comedy station. I hop up and grab her by both hands. She sighs and wiggles a bit to try to escape, but I hold on tight, crouching a little to get eye level with her and flash her a big grin. "What's wrong with you, Grumpy Pants?" I say playfully. She pulls her hands out of mine. "Nothing, just a rough day at work," she says. I turn and grab the flowers from the table next to us and hold them out to her. "Maybe these will help." She looks at them, then back at me with raised eyebrows. "What did you do?" I feign injury. "What, a guy can't buy his sexy wife flowers without her accusing him of committing some kind of atrocity?" She inspects the flowers with a skeptical eye. "These are beautiful. So beautiful, in fact, that if I had to guess, I'd say they cost at least $100. So I'll ask you again. Mal, what did you do?" I grin. "Oh boy," she says. I dash to the kitchen and return with our drinks. "So I'm going to need a drink for this news." I smile and she takes the glass. "Yes," I say, "for a toast." "And to what are we toasting?" My smile widens and I hold up my glass. "I quit my job today." Elle sets her drink down. Hard. On the table. Gin splashes out over the rim and spreads across the surface. "You did what?" I nod my head. "Yup. I went in and said that the job was interfering with our time together, that we were talking about starting a family, and that I didn't see any way to make both work." Well, close enough to the truth. Elle stares at me with a look of, is that fear? Confusion? It feels like fear. Her face goes flush, and there's a slight twitch in her eye. A moment later, the color returns, and a smile slowly creeps across her lips. "For real?" "For real, for real." "And you want to start a family?" There's a tremble in her voice that I can't quite identify. She takes a big sip of her drink and swallows hard, then throws her arms around me. We kiss, hard like we did when we were dating. I'm holding her face in my hands. Her arms are around my waist. She goes for my belt buckle and I grab her hands. "We have dinner reservations," I say. "I'm absolutely not hungry for food," she says. I look her in the eyes and slowly let go of her hands. We hold eye contact and she undoes my belt, button, and fly. Her hands slide into my pants and she kisses me while her fingers start working. I start to grow and she pushes my pants off my waist. "See," she says, "I told you I'd show you what a naughty lawyer looked like." She lowers herself to her knees and takes me in her mouth. My hands run through her hair and down her neck and shoulders. My head leans back and I savor the intricate sensations made by her lips and cheeks and tongue. I pull her up and kiss her mouth. My hands run down her back and up around her ass. I reach down and pull her pencil skirt up around her waist. My fingertips glide down her bare thighs to the tops of her stockings, then back up the inside to her panties. I push them aside and lift her up onto the table. I stop kissing her and lift her chin with my fingers. I gaze into her deep brown eyes and tell her that I love her, and I mean it more than anything I've ever said. I whisper that I need her. Slowly, as our breath gets shallow, I put myself close to her. She's not ready. I lean back and look at her. "We okay?" I ask. She nods. I lick my hand and use it to warm her up, then slide inside her. She lets out a long sigh and I pull close and kiss her again. We make love on the table, in the bed, and again clumsily in the shower. When we're done at last, we lay sprawled out naked on the sofa. My fingers trace heart shapes on her bare tummy. We missed dinner, I tell her. Yes, we did, she says. But we had lots of dessert. I smile at the corny joke. Are you hungry? No, she says, but I could use a cigarette. Well, I'll take that as a compliment. Take a walk with me? She asks. Gladly. We grab the box of Camels and the lighter from the drawer in the kitchen. Elle throws on some sweats and we head out the back to walk around the pond and smoke. So what was rough at work today? Oh, it's just frustrating. I had a witness for my case die. He was killed, actually. It looks like the suspect had it done, and it means we may have to drop the charges. Wow, I say, surprised. I didn't think things like that happened out here in the burbs. She chuckles. Thankfully, they usually don't. He was in the city last night, and it looks like the suspect's gang took him out. I stop walking. Last night, I say. Yeah, she sighs. He was out there tutoring some kid on the north side and got jumped on the way back to his car. Stabbed and shot in the head. I feel my throat close up and I start sweating. What was the case? Oh, sad one, she says. Young woman, a wife and mother. She was beaten pretty badly in a home invasion. Police think it was a robbery gone bad. Husband comes home in the middle of it and manages to chase the guys off, but the woman is in a coma in critical condition. Husband was able to pick 2 of the guys out in a photo lineup, though. He was set to testify, but now we're back to having nothing. I feel tears forming in the corners of my eyes. I choke on my words. I think I read about that one. What's her name again? My wife looks at me with sweet concern. Yeah, you might have. It was in the papers a lot. About a month ago. Girl's name was Kelly Phillips. My world comes crashing down around me. I picture the man lying on the wet pavement. I see his terrified eyes light up when I mention her name. I feel myself pull the trigger and smell the acrid sulfur scent of the gunfire, mixing with the copper odor of the blood as it pools on the ground. I bend over and throw up on my shoes. Oh my God! Honey, are you... There's a clap of thunder and a sudden roar of rain, but the skies are clear and dry. I look up and see red. My nausea turns to panic and my eyes go wide. Elle turns, following my gaze, and we stare together as our apartment building is consumed in flames. Well, hi, Melissa. We just finished listening to Chapter 3 of Malcolm Karma Cold Turkey, and you're joining us to talk a little bit about that. But first, I want to talk a little bit about you. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your writing?
Sure. I write. I know words, many words. Let's see. I write cozy mystery with a reluctant adventurer, a sexy arch nemesis, and a greyhound with a thing for bad guys. I also write portal fantasy, and I'm working on several horror trilogies, and I write nonfiction. And I just had a new one that came out, which is world building. You roll dice to create prompts, and you build your world. And we have this is book number 12, and we have 2 also that are teacher editions. And these are fun, so much fun. And we do these live on my Bookscube podcast. So we're always looking for authors to come on and roll the dice with us, and then we all write together. And it's just amazing what people can come up with when they don't think about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, all of that sounds amazing, and make sure you send me links for all of that stuff so I can put them in the notes for people to find your podcast and your books. Um, and I agree. I think I've said for a long time that um, I don't really believe in the idea of writer's block. I think there's story block. And so I think that writers, they'll be trying to work on something specific and they can't seem to get any traction and it's not working. And it's not that they're creatively blocked or that their writing is blocked, it's that they're stuck on that story. And I always encourage people to do something that takes them out of that. So this, I haven't heard of this setup before with the dice and stuff, but that's a great idea. I always did it um, back like 15 years ago when Twitter was still like cool and good, and there was a thriving writing community on Twitter. Um,
I miss that.
if I do too, there's nothing that really replaces it. But if I was having, writer's block, I would go on Twitter and I would just start writing a story from scratch, tweet by tweet. And it was back when it was only 140 characters at the time. And so I would just try to write the best opening line to a story I could think of, just like something that would just grab people's attention, right? Because that's how you get the like hearts and likes and retweets and everything. And then I would just do another tweet that was a follow up to that that advanced it, and another one after that, and another one after that. And it was amazing how, when I'm just focusing on one sentence and trying to write one sentence, it was able to get those juices going. And actually, that's how Malcolm Karma started. I was having writer's block on something else, and I started it on Twitter. And so for a long time, it was just me writing it on Twitter.
Oh, nifty. How far did you get on Twitter?
Like 3 or 4 chapters. Yeah, it was a long at 140 characters a line, and there's so much that's like changed since then. I mean, that was like, just getting me going. But I just liked the idea. I liked the character, and decided to. I then moved it over to my website for a while and was like blogging it for a while, and then I think I finished it on my website, at least the first draft. And then obviously there's been a lot of edits since then. But yeah, so I think that that's great. I think that that's such a cool idea with rolling dice and using prompts and doing it that way.
And they're fun. We did a show once where we had, I met this lady somewhere and she was a nonfiction author. And I said, well, you need to come on our show and write. And she said, well, I don't write fiction. And I said, it doesn't matter. I've had people who are not writers. When I sell these in person, they sell really fast, and people who are not writers are my main audience. They buy these and go, oh, that would be fun to just try writing. But she
Yeah.
came on our show. She wrote a really good story. There was gravel crunching underneath feet. There were smells in the air. I mean, she covered all the things that first-time writers forget to put in their first drafts. And she wrote a complete short story, and now she writes fiction too.
That's amazing.
Yeah, they're fun. Oh, sorry, I've got hair in my face. They are they they're just fun.
Yeah.
They're fun, and they started out because I was having trouble finishing things, and Lisa Mahoney, who I co-write with them, was my editor at the time, and she's all, okay, we got to figure out a way for you to finish things. And she wanted me to write short stories. And I'm like, I can't write short. I had an actor once I used to work in film. So I had an actor contact me and they wanted a monologue for an audition they were doing. And I wrote a 60-page script. Like, I have a hard time writing short.
I do too. I've always wanted to write short stories. It's one of the reasons that I've started writers groups so many times. Um, was to kind of force me to write something smaller. But I'm with you. Like I start with an idea of a short story and then I blink and it's 40,000 words. And I'm like, well, there you go.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, you need to we're going to do a show in October. So I'll talk to you about, see if we can get you on the show then
I'd love to.
because,
That would be a lot of fun.
yeah, they are, like I said, they're fun.
So you read up to chapter 3 in
Yeah, I
Malcolm
read
Karma.
the first section, and
Hmm.
I'm a slow reader, and I sit outside to read, and it's getting nicer and nicer the days, and I'm slow. I really like to savor the stories and not go through too fast,
Hmm.
and so I got through I without even realizing it. I'm like, oh my God, I'm done with section one. Okay, so but I did go back a couple times and reread three because I wanted to come up with things to say. And so I'm going to just dive in.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start with what I absolutely loved, which was that it was good writing. I was a little worried at first because I hadn't read anything by you. And after I contacted you, I'm like, oh, what if he can't write? I really should have looked up one of his books first. But no, it was really good. Pulled me into the story. I like the characters. Uh, it's exciting. I There's a mystery that I really want to know what's going on. So I was really thrilled with that. Okay, so I could only, and I read the chapter several times going, what can I not like about this? Or what can I say I don't like about this? Or what bothers me? Um, Present tense, I know when I first started reading it, I am not a fan of present tense. I do not like it. I usually do not. I think I've only finished one other book in present tense, and that was All the Light You Cannot See.
Hmm.
And I love World War II. So I'm like, okay, I got to read this because it's World War II story. So usually I will pick up a book, and if it's present tense, I will put it right back down again. But I could not put this back down again. So I'm like, okay, so for this story, it works.
All right.
It works. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the only thing that I was confused about was when he goes to see Micah, and first it's talking about the neighborhood, and then he goes into the building, and I didn't realize it was a restaurant. I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on? And I had to go back and start at the beginning. It's only like two paragraphs. Went back to the beginning, went, oh, okay, I get it, I get it. So I think because it talked about a neighborhood and then went into the building, and you talked about the building and the water, and you describe and looking at the second time going, of course it's a restaurant. Why did I think it wasn't? So maybe my husband was talking to me, or I was distracted, or I'd been a little too far into my daily drink. So,
Yeah. Well, I can certainly empathize and sympathize with that as well. I was rereading it, the chapter today before our call, and it's funny, that occurred to me today for the first time reading it was like, I never mentioned that it's a restaurant. I described the building. I think in a later chapter, I identify it as Mikascati Sushi.
yes, you
Um,
do. You do.
but I don't even call the restaurant by its name at any point in that chapter. I'm introducing a place and not fully introducing it. I think I do this a lot. I do this a lot with characters. I do it a lot with settings. I think I withhold from the audience as much as I can, and I don't even do it consciously. So, like a pet peeve of mine when I'm reading a book is when a character walks on the page for the very first time and the author stops and takes two paragraphs to describe the person toes to hair and just tells you everything about what they look like. And I'm like, I don't I don't actually even care. Like if it's important, like if a character has red hair, right? And then at the crime scene you find a strand of red hair. Like I need to know the character has red hair so I can be like, "Ooh, it's suspicious." But if they have, if they have a gold tooth but it's not relevant, then don't tell me. But if you want to tell me that they have a gold tooth because it makes them intimidating or something like that, give us the stuff we need to have the feeling of the character without giving us a photograph of the character because the audience likes to build the character up in their mind anyway.
Oh yeah. I agree. And in my writing, I'm really bad. Usually editors will go, "The hell does this person look like?" Well, what do you want them to look like? It's like Julia Roberts in Pretty Woman. Oh, what do you want my name to be? I just because everybody, like you said, everybody, I try to, if race is important, I try to bring it in. And I try to bring it in more now that so many books don't have anybody of color at all in them. I'm just going to turn my fan up or take off my sweater. Um, so I try to make sure that my books are diverse. Uh, but but yeah, as far as description and things, and like with my fantasy, for my Portal Fantasy, the names are short. They're one syllable. You get one character every two or three chapters. There is not a lot of background. There's not a lot of description. They are novellas. It's 126 pages for each book, and they end on cliffhangers. But I'm going to do a Kickstarter later in the year, mid next year, to do an omnibus of the nice chunker of the series. But I don't. I think it's my big pet peeve with fantasy, and I love reading fantasy. But this book started for Amy of Earth. It started on Kindle Vella. Do you remember Kindle Vella?
Yeah, I tried to write in Kindle Vella. My genre does not do well there. It's gone now, but it did. I
Yeah,
could
and
not get anyone to, because I love the
fantasy.
idea of serial fiction.
Oh, and fantasy was great. I made a lot of money in a year a friend and I were in at the beginning, and I'm never in the beginning for anything, and I was so excited. I built up all kinds of followers and things, and then I had an episode that got stuck for 24 days, and it didn't go live, and I was number 25 for a while, out of what 100 or 250 or whatever they had for their thingy, and it got stuck for 24 days, and I kept saying it won't publish, and then all my other ones wouldn't publish. And I lost my audience, I lost my traction, I lost all my beautiful money that I was getting every month. So then I moved it to Substack, and now that I've got them as novellas, I'm kind of taking it off Substack, where I'm cutting back on what's on there. But I got distracted. So when I was first reading them on Kindle Vella, and I love serial fiction, and I remember reading one fantasy, and the girl, honest to God, I counted, she had 20 characters on page one, and she gave first and last names to everybody, and they had like 20,000 syllables in each name. And I'm like, no, I can't handle that. I can't do it. So for me, and I'm sure that my Portal Fantasy is not what Portal Fantasy readers want, because like I said, it's small, Amy, Lav, Vadi, Lennis, Vic. I mean, everybody's names are very short. They're in Bith, that's the town, you know. So I just wanted everything where the kind of thing that I like to read. And I've seen people post this before. I want to see a book based on such and such, so I guess I'll write it myself. And that's what I did for
Yeah.
that one. But yeah, I do love serial fiction. It is so much fun. And it turned in for 10, 15 years, I had thought about this story, and I come from screenwriting. I used to be a literary agent, and I tried writing it as a screenplay, but there was so much story, it did not work. Then I tried writing it as a novel, and there was just so much story, I didn't even know where to start. And then when my friend told me, hey, they're doing this serial fiction, I'm like, oh, I think that's the way to do it. Because then I don't have to give too much away. I can go really small and short, and chapters are anywhere from 600 to 15, 1600 words. I mean, they're short. It's just I wanted to be able to read a chapter while I was, stirring the rice, cooking dinner kind of thing. So that was just like I said, I just love serial fiction so much. And I thought I read that Ream was closing, but maybe I was wrong with that. Are they still around?
I'm not familiar with them.
Yeah, that's another one that I had considered, and I thought I saw something that they weren't going to be selling any more tokens anymore, and you had to use the ones you had, and
Hmm.
I thought, oh gracious, that's really sad because Kindle and not Kindle, Amazon Vella really blew it because they didn't go wide, and then when we went to 20 books the first year they were there, the lady who gave the talk knew less than the people in the audience.
Yeah, I said
Ridiculous.
it from the beginning. Like I was on it from the beginning too. I love the idea. I was so excited about it because so many of the books I loved reading, when I was developing myself as a reader and a writer, were books that originally were published serially, in Rolling Stone magazine or in Playboy or in like even like Sherlock Holmes was originally serialized fiction. Um and so I just loved that idea and I was so excited that Amazon was going to do it, but then they didn't do it. They like opened it and didn't tell anybody about it. They didn't promote it. They didn't encourage people. There were no ads about it. You went to even find Kindle Vella on Amazon's page was like nigh impossible. It was like buried in like three submenus.
Yeah, and they
So
discouraged people from advertising it.
yeah,
And I had people all over the world who were begging because they couldn't read it.
yeah.
It's like, oh, so yeah, it was just. It was nice money. I had a friend who made 15K in the first 3 months.
Oh my God.
And I think she writes like fantasy, spicy romance.
Yeah,
So
that got a lot of traction on there.
it did get a lot of traction. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing my new novel on Substack, pre-alpha chapters, just rough draft, unedited, just throwing it up there. Oh, kick your camera, Neil. Um, and we'll see. I'm putting it behind a paywall. It's for paid subscriptions, but I feel like that's the least. I mean, for that, I think that's how I want to do it. But it's going to be I'm excited about it. It's a legal thriller romance, spicy romance. So it's gonna my goal is to write a legitimate legal thriller that is also a legitimate spicy romance that the romance girlies will accept as a romance, and subvert some tropes and try some new things and just see what it's kind of it's an exercise. It's an experiment.
Yeah. Have you had, I think I put out 30 weeks of episodes for Monster Stalkers, which is my urban fantasy, and then for Amy of Earth also, and got like zero traction. I had a few people that subscribed, but no one would comment. I'd even say, if you read, just let me know you're reading. Just reply with a yes. Nobody, crickets,
Yeah.
absolute crickets. And people, and it seems to mostly be filled with political and people telling you how to get an audience on Substack.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, just keep publishing. People will find you. I did keep publishing. Nobody found me, and it was very discouraging. And so I had to create I'm like massive ADD and probably autistic too, because I forget. I actually forget that I'm writing a book while I'm writing the book. So I have a to-do list that, what is it called? It's called to-do list. It's called to-do list. It's red with some like stripes for like a sergeant stripes
hmm
on it, which are probably check marks actually, now that I say that. But I absolutely love it. And I have to put in there like eat breakfast, get out of bed. I mean, it's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. But I know I'm not the only one out there who has these issues of trying to remember. So I got really busy and I didn't post anything for like 10 weeks on Substack. I'm like, oh my God, I forgot to post stuff. And of course, nobody noticed.
Yep. Yep.
No
I
comments,
same
nobody.
way. Yeah. So yeah, back to where we were going, but I find that I unintentionally withhold information from the readers, and so that's definitely something I noticed rereading the chapter today, was that I did not mention that it was a restaurant or what it was called. But I think it becomes clear when they talk about the dining room and the
Yeah,
and the
that's what
host stand and
they're talking about, two different dining rooms, and I thought, why does the house have two different dining rooms? And then I went back to read. And then when it got to the hostess, it's like paragraph 3 or 4 mentions the hostess. I'm like, oh, okay, it's a restaurant. Okay.
yeah.
Okay. And then yeah, later, one of the later chapters, I can't remember. The next time he goes to the restaurant, you mention the restaurant. And I think you also mentioned some food, maybe.
hmm
I'm trying to remember.
A drink, I think he
A
has.
drink. Oh yeah, he
Yeah.
had drinks. That's right.
Yeah. He goes to
Somebody,
the bar. Yeah.
yeah, came by and sat with him to talk. Yeah.
Was there anything else that you wanted to critique? I'm happy to just chat about writing in general, but
Yeah,
just wanted to give you the opportunity
no,
if there was anything.
no. I mean, I don't want to give away spoilers, but I mean, the first section was great. It set everything up. The only thing was the cops didn't ask him who he was trying to kill, but I can't remember what chapter it was. It was when they went to the motel,
hmm hmm
and I thought, well, why didn't they ask him that? But then I thought, well, maybe there's a reason that they're going after him. Maybe they're on the take. So I don't know yet. So because everything's still mysterious. So thought, well, it's going to tell me later. because so far, every time I had a question, you told me later. So I think that was the only other thing. I like the ladies outside the motel room.
Yeah, yeah. So the other thing that's funny is because I was writing this on Twitter originally, almost every single character in the book is a person that was on Twitter in like my little Twitter writing group.
That's cool.
So I had, I had at the peak of when I was before I canceled my Twitter account, I had like 3,500 followers, 3,500 followers on Twitter. And there was a core group of us that was about 10 or 12 of us that communicated every day. In the feeds and also through DMs and such. And so Erica and Robin, the two girlies that are sitting outside the hotel motel room, are were friends of mine, Erica and Robin, and they're still friends, even though nobody's on Twitter anymore. But they both live in Texas, and they they I was just like, yeah, this is perfect. Like I'm gonna put them in there. And Mika is named after she's an author and an editor, Mika Scotty Cole, and it's Micah. Everybody she goes by Micah, and everybody else knows that that's how you pronounce that name apparently. But I always thought it was Mika, so when I read it, I still
Same
call her
here.
Mika in my head. Um, and uh,
Do they know that they're in the book?
yes, yes.
Okay,
Oh,
cool.
for sure. Before, I mean, they were all reading along and, giving feedback when I was writing it. And then before I published, I did touch base with everybody and said, like, you guys are good that your names are in here, right? And one person asked to have his name removed, and it wasn't that they didn't like the book, he just didn't want like that. Uh, he just didn't want it. And I was like, that's fine. And I changed that character's name. But
Yeah,
almost everyone in there, in fact, the reason Malcolm Karma is called Malcolm Karma is because his wife in it, El Karma, that was her name, El Karma. And so when I made her the wife, it was like, okay, it's his name and how that all goes. But yeah, everybody in there uh, is an homage to my old writing group on Twitter.
oh, I like that. That's nice. And his name being Karma really works in the story very
It
well.
does. It does. Yeah, sometimes that's how it works for me is like I'll come up. That's the book I'm writing right now. It all came up because the main character, her name is Viral Youngblood, and I my like day job is doing like AV production for like big trade shows and stuff like that. And I was at some trade show somewhere, and I was in one of the like little breakout room things where it's just like a U-shaped table with like 30 people that sit around, and they've all got like little name tents on it. And there was one person in there whose first name was Viral, and I was like, that is such a cool first name. Like,
Yeah, it really
what
is.
what a great first name. And then across the table was someone whose last name was Youngblood, and I was like, that's a great name. And I was like, I'm just gonna put those together and make this character. And then I was like, immediately like she's this uh like coked out uh low rent lawyer that works out of like a strip mall. And
Yeah,
this was like I came up with the idea like well before Better Call Saul, and and the story's nothing like that, but just this idea like of like the like kind of skeezy lawyer in the strip mall. I was like, oh man, but I think I could still do that. It's a totally
so yeah,
different
yeah,
thing. But yeah, that's I'll come up with a character, often a name, and uh then just like build the world around like what would that person's world look like, right?
yeah,
My first novel, Dark White, same thing. Like the primary character, Gavin Gale, that was my second born's name. and uh, and there was just this there was a picture that I took of them where they were like 4 at the time, and their hair was like kind of like swirly and curly in their eyes, and the flash gave them the red eyes, and there a little dirt on their face, and I just looked at that and was like, pictured that grown up, and I was like, oh, he's like, this is what they're going to be like, and so then I had this character and just started building the world around that. And yeah, that's how I build story.
Oh, I like that. For me, it's usually I see names on. We travel a lot. We jump in the car and go. I mean, what about when I bought a car a couple years ago? The first 4 or 5 weeks, I drove 10,000 miles. So I get my names from exit signs on the freeway. So when we lived in Alabama, there was a sign. So one direction was Jemison and the other direction was Thorsby. So that became a character for me. It was Jemison Thorsby. And for years I've talked about, I'm going to use that name. I'm going to use that name. And I finally did in a series we did in public access. So, which is still showing on public access channels called Crewing Up.
Very
So
nice.
yeah, that was fun. I'm gonna write it as a show, as a book one day eventually. But it was I think one of the no, it wasn't the first time I grabbed a name from signs, but I have a huge list in my phone. I'll say to my husband if I'm driving, okay, text me that name or that city name, and sometimes I'll grab maps and pull them open and look at foreign countries and see what little towns I could possibly use.
A lot of times I'm terrible at character names. The That's why I steal them. Um, and I've never been smart enough to like start building a list of character names on my phone, but I might start doing that now as I see things. But what I do a lot of times is not so much for main characters, but for side characters, is I'll pick a first name that I feel like is appropriate for them, and then for their last name, I'll think of like what their character is, like what the character of the character is,
Mhm.
um, and I'll come up with like the general idea of who they are, and then I'll find out how to say that in a foreign language, and then I'll use that as their last name. So like one character I have, like the last name is guilty in German or something like that. And
Oh,
so it's like if you know German, you'd be able to see it, but otherwise it just looks like, a last name because with foreign words, foreign being anything that's not English, which is what I speak, any word can sound like a name.
oh yeah, yeah. For fantasy, that's what I do. Like I said, I like them to be around 5 letters or less, and I just throw some letters together to create the
Hmm.
names of characters. And so far, works. So far,
Yeah. Well, it has been really fun talking to you. I'm super excited to check out your work and especially that prompt book. That show it
Oh
to us again.
man,
Yes, roll a prompt. I love it. It makes me so happy. Um, and we'll meet up in October for sure for to do a little bit of that together. I think that would be a lot of fun.
yeah,
Is
yeah.
there anything else you want to like let the audience know before we wrap up?
Well, I will have a special going on for my June Nash if you like cozy mystery. Like I said, it's a reluctant adventure, a sexy arch nemesis, and a dog, a greyhound with a thing for bad guys. I'm going to have the first three ebooks together for $5 and the first three audiobooks together for $9.99. And I will have a link. I'm trying to raise enough money to take my son-in-law to Key West for his 40th birthday. So I want to sell 200 copies of the books, and that way I'd have enough to pay for the hotel and take him out to dinner with my daughter, obviously too, and all that. So I'll put the link. I'll give you the links for those too. I'm just today, while before I was on with you, creating the coupon and all that. So that's just going to go live. I'm going to talk about it on TikTok
S-
later,
Speaking of
eventually.
that, where can people find you online? Is it just TikTok or?
They can find me on TikTok at Melissa Banczak author. It's B as in boy, A-N, C as in cat, Z as in zebra, A-K, then author. They can find me the same name at .com. And yeah, the .com will lead you to my PayHip store, which I am just fiddling around with today, trying to put everything into collections. But when you glance at it, you can see easily what's an ebook and what's an audiobook because they're either a little Kindle or they have headphones around them. So you know, and I'm out of paperbacks, so I turned my store off for the moment because I'm out of paperbacks. So I need to order some more in October. But yeah, that's where I am. And for our prompt books, we have a mailing list, and you get 10 free prompts, and then every month you get a free prompt.
I love that
And
too.
then
That's
you
great.
get first crack at reviewing books and getting them for free to review them and help me beta do them and all that. So yeah, and that's I think the links to that are on my melissabonzak.com. So yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on with me. Thank you for your feedback on the book, and we'll all catch you on TikTok. And everybody, go buy Melissa's books.
Yes, thank you for letting me come on. This was a lot of
Absolutely.
fun.
Yeah. All right. We'll see you around. Thank you so
Okay,
much.
bye.
Bye.